There comes a time in every person's life when the mirror stops being just glass and starts reflecting truth. Not just your face, but your fears. Not just your skin, but your self-hip. In that moment, the question is not who you see, but who you're willing to become. Most people spend their lives waiting for a sign, a call, a savior, or someone to finally tell them you're the one. But here's the truth. No one is coming. No script has been written for you. If you don't step into the main role, the stage stays empty. You see, life isn't about being handed the spotlight. It's about grabbing it. It's about choosing to be the one others remember, not the one who watched from the background. And while most walk around as extras in their own stories, the ones who rise, those who lead, inspire, and move mountains are the ones who dare to act like the main character, not because someone gave them permission, but because they gave it to themselves. When you were a child, you didn't doubt your imagination. You were the hero in your own world. You ran with power, you spoke with boldness, and you believed that you mattered. But something happened. The world began whispering that you should tone it down, sit quietly and let others lead. Slowly, piece by piece, confidence was replaced by caution, and you traded your crown for comfort. My friend, it's time to reclaim it. Acting like the main character doesn't mean arrogance. It means presence. It means showing up like your life is worth watching, because it is. It means dressing not just for the world outside, but for the world within. It means speaking like your words carry weight, because they do. It means living like you've got a purpose burning inside, because you do. Now let me ask you something. When you walk into a room, do you shrink or do you expand? Do you wait for someone to notice you, or do you walk like you already know your worth? The energy you carry is not just invisible, it's contagious. People treat you based on the cues you give them. If you act like you don't matter, they'll believe you. But if you carry yourself with dignity, with clarity, with boldness, they'll follow your lead. Confidence is not a gift, it is a choice. It's built step by step, day by day, through the quiet moments no one sees. It's saying yes when your fear says no. It's standing tall when your past tries to drag you down. It's walking forward, even when your knees are shaking. Confidence is not loud, it is firm. Not boastful, but undeniable. It's the foundation of all greatness, and it starts inside. And here's the secret. The world doesn't reward people who wait. It rewards people who declare. Declare who you are. Declare what you want. Declare that you are worth more than the limitations you've accepted. Because until you do, life will cast you as a background character in someone else's dream. You weren't born to serve someone else's script. You were born to write your own. Up if you begin today to act like the person you're becoming, not the one you've been told you are, not the one who's made mistakes, but the one you see in flashes, the you who is powerful, focused, and alive. You must understand, self-itch is the beginning of destiny. What you believe about yourself shapes everything. You can never outperform your own belief system. If you see yourself as small, you'll act small. If you see yourself as strong, the world will feel it before you even speak. No one else can give you that image. It must be born within. It must be guarded, built, nurtured. Others may try to tear it down, but you must protect it like gold, because it is gold. Your image, how you carry yourself, how you view yourself, how you speak to yourself, is the filter through which every opportunity, every challenge, and every breakthrough must pass. Let me tell you, the world is desperate for people who believe in themselves, not just superficially, but with conviction. Because when you act like the main character, you give others permission to do the same. You inspire, you elevate, you light the path. And it's not about being perfect, it's about being present. It's about showing up like your life matters, because the truth is, it does. You must stop waiting for the right moment. Stop waiting for someone to validate your vision. The moment is now. The power is in your hands. Stand tall, breathe deep, speak like it matters, walk like you know who you are. The curtain has already risen. The audience is already watching. Will you step forward or will you fade into the background? Because whether you realize it or not, you're already on stage. And it's time to act like the main character. There is a force inside you, quiet but persistent, that has always known you were meant for more. It doesn't shout, it nudges. It speaks in the silent hours when you're alone with your thoughts. It speaks when you watch someone else live boldly and feel the sting of envy, not because you wish them harm, but because you remember there's a version of you who could do that too. That version has always been there, waiting not for the right opportunity, but for your permission. Most people never step into their power because they believe they must first become someone new. But the truth is, the strongest version of you is not someone else, it's the fullest version of you. It's the you without apology, the you without shame, the you that walks in purpose without waiting for the stars to align. You don't become the main character by adding something fake to your life. You become the main character by subtracting the lies you've believed. You've been conditioned to think you need to be chosen, but you were already chosen the moment you were born. Chosen by life, chosen by existence, chosen by the very breath in your lungs. But you see, being chosen isn't enough. You must claim it. You must rise to meet the identity that's been trying to break through for years. You must stop auditioning for roles that don't serve your soul and step into the role you were born to play. Understand this. No one is looking to crown you. No one is going to walk up with a trophy and declare you made it. That responsibility belongs to you. You must see your own worth. You must claim your own greatness, because when you do, something extraordinary happens. The world begins to adjust around your belief. Doors open not because they weren't there before, but because you finally walked up and knocked. And let's be honest, being the main character isn't always glamorous. It's not all applause and spotlight. Sometimes it's standing alone, making choices no one understands. Sometimes it's silence and resistance and the weight of responsibility. But even in those moments, especially in those moments, you must remember, you're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be true to yourself. And truth, real truth, is magnetic. Go. It draws the right people, the right opportunities, and the right energy into your life. Every great story has a turning point. That moment when the hero stops running and decides to face what's in front of them. This is your moment. This is your pivot. You don't need more time. You don't need more preparation. What you need is decision. Decide that today is the day you stop playing small. Decide that today is the day you speak with purpose, walk with intention, and move like the world is better because you're in it. The main character never begs for approval. The main character doesn't apologize for their dreams. The main character doesn't shrink when challenged. They rise. You must learn to stand firm in who you are, not because you have all the answers, but because you finally trust yourself to ask the right questions. That trust is the seed of confidence. And confidence is not the absence of doubt. It's the presence of self-belief that is louder than the doubt. What story are you telling yourself? Is it one of fear, failure, and uncertainty? Or is it one of strength, resilience, and evolution? Because the story you repeat becomes the life you live. Your self-talk writes the script. So change the script. Begin narrating your days like the hero you are. Speak victory over your mornings. Speak power into your actions. Speak life into your own journey. And know this, you will stumble. You will face rejection. You will meet resistance. But that doesn't disqualify you. It defines you. Because the main character isn't the one who never falls. The main character is the one who gets up again and again, bloodied but unbroken, determined to keep going because the mission is greater than the fear. Your life isn't waiting for something external to arrive. It's waiting for something internal to awaken. That fire you've been dimming, let it burn. That voice you've been silencing, let it speak. That power you've been hiding, let it rise. You don't need to be anyone else. You just need to be all of you. And once you do that, once you own it, once you embody it, the world will shift to meet your vibration. So rise, stand tall, look yourself in the mirror not as someone who is becoming, but as someone who already is. Walk out your front door like the story has already begun. Because it has, and it's waiting for you to show up like the lead role you were always meant to play. There is something deeply powerful about a person who knows who they are. They do not rush to prove themselves, nor do they panic when misunderstood. They do not need permission to exist boldly, and they do not beg for acceptance. This kind of person moves through life as if the ground beneath them is theirs to walk, and the air around them was made for them to breathe. That person is you, if you are willing to claim it. You see, being the main character does not start with external achievement. It begins with internal ownership. You cannot outsource belief. You cannot borrow confidence. You must build it from within, brick by brick, moment by moment. Every time you stand up for yourself, you place a brick. Every time you honor your values, you place a brick. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, or yes to something that does, you're laying the foundation of your own character. And let me remind you, there's no shame in having forgotten this truth. Life has a way of dimming the light inside of us, convincing us that we must earn our right to shine. But you were born with that light, and though it may have flickered through storms and setbacks, it was never extinguished. Even the smallest flame can become a roaring fire when you feed it with belief. Too many people live waiting for the right moment to become themselves. They say they'll act confident when they feel confident, or they'll speak boldly when others listen, but that is not how transformation works. The feelings follow the action. You must act like the main character before you feel like the main character. You must embody the confidence before the world reflects it back to you. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. It feels strange to speak with clarity when you're used to being quiet. It feels unnatural to take up space when you spent years shrinking. But discomfort is not a sign you're doing something wrong. It's a sign you're growing. Growth will never feel familiar because you're stepping into a version of yourself you haven't fully lived yet. So welcome that tension, embrace that awkwardness. It is the friction of your old self burning away to make space for the new. Main characters don't walk around asking for permission. They give themselves permission. Permission to dream bigger, permission to demand more, permission to show up fully, even when others don't understand it. And the truth is, not everyone will understand it. Not everyone will applaud your transformation. Some will feel threatened by your confidence, confused by your clarity, or intimidated by your presence. That is not your problem. That is their reflection. You were not put here to live within the limits of other people's expectations. You were put here to expand, to lead, to inspire. Your light does not dim others. It invites them to shine too. But that begins with you, with how you carry yourself, with the way you speak about yourself when no one is listening, with the decisions you make when nobody is watching. Confidence is forged in the silence and revealed in the spotlight. There will be days when doubt returns. There will be moments when the old voice whispers, "Who do you think you are?" And in those moments, you must answer, not with shame, not with retreat, but with truth. I am the one who decided to rise. That's all it takes. Decision over and over again, not once, not twice, but daily, hourly, minute by minute if needed. And let me tell you something important. There is no perfect version of you waiting in the distance. There is only this version right here, right now, deciding whether to lean in or pull back. And the more you lean in, the more you trust, the more you act with intention, the more powerful your presence becomes. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to move like someone who believes they will. Eventually, the world is shaped not by the loudest voices, but by the clearest ones. Clarity comes from conviction. Conviction comes from values. And values are born from self-awarenessness. So take time to know yourself. Really know yourself. Not the roles you've played or the masks you've worn, but the soul underneath it all. The dreams you buried, the truths you silenced, the voice you've hidden. That voice deserves to speak again. Because in the end, no one will remember how carefully you tiptoed around life. They will remember how boldly you lived it, how fearlessly you showed up, how completely you embodied your role as the main character of your own story, and they will be changed by it, not because you tried to impress them, but because you finally became yourself without apology. So do not wait another day. The curtain is already up, the audience is already watching, and most importantly, your soul is waiting. It's time to act like the main character, because no one else can do it for you. Think for a moment about how you move through your day. The way you rise from bed, the way you enter a room, the way you speak your name or answer a question. Every movement, every choice, every word is either reinforcing your role as the main character or giving it away. And most people, without realizing it, are handing that role to someone else, to fear, to doubt, to the opinions of others. But not you, not anymore. You must understand that presence is power. The energy you bring with you precedes every word you speak. People may not always remember what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that feeling begins with the way you feel about yourself. Do you carry yourself like you matter? Do you move like your existence has weight, like your choices create ripples, like your words are worth listening to? If not, now's the time to change that. There is no moment too small to walk in purpose. There is no room too ordinary to carry greatness into. When you begin treating every second as sacred, you begin living with the posture of a leader. That's what the main character does. They do not wait for the stage to be set or the lighting to be perfect. They create meaning through their very presence. They transform the ordinary into significance simply by deciding to show up fully. Do not mistake humility for invisibility. You were not born to blend in so perfectly that your own spirit forgets its edge. True humility is power under control, not power in hiding. It is knowing your strength and choosing to wield it with grace. It is the art of confidence without arrogance, certainty without the need to dominate. You are not here to shrink for anyone's comfort. You are here to inspire them to rise with you. Far too often we look outside ourselves for a blueprint. We look to those who seem successful and say, if I do it their way, maybe I'll find what they have. But the truth is, what they have came from authenticity. It came from risk. It came from ownership. And the only path to your greatness is your path. You must stop trying to imitate and start trying to ignite. What makes you different is what makes you unforgettable. The most magnetic people in the world are not the most polished, they are the most authentic. Their words have gravity because they come from a place of self-trust. Their steps carry weight because they are not pretending to be someone they're not. You can feel when someone has done the inner work. You can sense when they are aligned with their purpose. And that alignment is what draws others in. Not perfection, but truth. Now, I must remind you, this is not about waiting until the conditions are ideal. There will never be a perfect moment. The stars will never align exactly as you imagined. Life is not designed to wait for your comfort. It rewards those who move in the face of discomfort. If you want to live as the main character, you must be willing to step forward even when the path is foggy, even when the spotlight is dim, even when your voice shakes. Start showing up for yourself the way you show up for others. Defend your dreams with the same passion you use to defend your friends. Encourage your own heart with the same kindness you offer to those you love. Speak to yourself as if you matter, because you do. Too often we are generous with others and cruel to ourselves. That must stop here. Your inner dialogue writes your outer destiny. Feed it strength. When you begin to live this way, you will notice a shift, not just in how others treat you, but in how life itself begins to respond. Opportunities arise where once there were walls. Connections are made where once there was silence. You attract what you reflect. When you walk like you are worthy, worthy things begin to find you. When you speak like your voice matters, it starts to echo in places you never imagined. And understand this, becoming the main character is not a single decision, it is a daily decision. It's in the way you get dressed in the morning, it's in the way you eat your meals, speak your thoughts, hold your posture. It is in the way you turn the page on yesterday's story and begin today with purpose. Every day is a new scene. Every word is a line in your script. You are the writer, You are the actor. You are the director. So don't just live, create. Let this be the moment you stopped waiting. Let this be the scene where the tide turned, where the background faded and the spotlight found you, not because it finally arrived, but because you finally stood still enough to let it catch you. Let this be the beginning of the life you were always meant to lead, not someday, not after the doubt fades, not when you feel ready, now. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more followers, it needs more originals. And you, exactly as you are, with all your fire and flaws and vision and voice, you are one of them. You are the main character, and it's time the world knew it, too. There is a silent agreement you must break, one that says you have to stay small to be accepted, quiet to be liked, and ordinary to belong. That agreement was never signed by your soul. It was imposed by fear, by rejection, by the opinions of those who were afraid of their own greatness. But your destiny does not lie in the approval of others. It lies in your ability to approve of yourself. To walk into each day not asking, will they accept me, but declaring, I accept myself. Main character energy is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. It is the inner knowing that you are living in integrity with who you truly are. You don't have to prove it because it radiates from your being. You don't need applause because you have peace, and that peace becomes power because it frees you from the trap of needing permission to rise. You must stop waiting to feel ready. You will not always feel ready. Confidence does not come before action. It is forged through action. Every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you speak your truth, every time you risk failure for the sake of growth, you are telling your spirit, I trust you. And that trust builds the kind of confidence that cannot be faked, borrowed, or taken away. Many people think the main character is fearless. That is not true. The main character simply acts despite fear. Fear still shows up. Doubt still knocks on the door. But they do not get to drive the car. You can feel fear and still move forward. You can hear doubt and still speak up. You can encounter rejection and still know your worth. The difference lies not in emotion, but in response. This is your invitation to take the lead. Not because it is easy, not because the path is smooth, but because your life is too valuable to be lived passively. You were not designed to watch others build their dreams while yours gather dust. You were created to contribute something only you can give, and that contribution begins with ownership of your voice, your vision, your presence. There is a posture you must adopt, a physical and mental state that declares you are awake to your power. Lift your chin, straighten your spine, breathe deeper, walk slower. Let the world feel that you are not in a rush to prove anything because you already know who you are. This is not performance. This is presence. And presence is what makes you unforgettable. Do not wait until you feel like the main character to act like one. Let your actions lead your emotions. Speak like someone who believes their voice can move mountains. Dress like someone who takes their life seriously. Show up like someone who knows the moment is theirs to own. Because over time, the costume becomes character, the rehearsal becomes reality, the practice becomes presence. And let's be honest, there will be people who misunderstand you. They will say you've changed. They will question your confidence. They will whisper that you've become too much. Let them. Those whispers are not a warning. They are confirmation. Confirmation that you are no longer playing small to keep others comfortable. You are no longer bending to be accepted. You are standing tall to be aligned. Do not confuse noise with value. You do not need to be the loudest in the room to command attention. Often, it is the calmest voice that carries the most power. The voice that speaks with intention, with certainty, with conviction, not to dominate, but to deliver. That is the voice of a leader. That is the voice of someone who knows their worth is not based on volume, but on truth. And finally, remember this. Your story matters. Your journey is not random. Every pain, every lesson, every moment of struggle has sculpted you into someone capable of impact. The main character does not rise without trials. They rise because of them. They take their pain and alchemize it into wisdom. They take their doubt and turn it into depth. They take their wounds and use them to heal others. That is the mark of someone who leads from within. So I ask you again, when will you decide? When will you stop waiting for the world to see you and begin seeing yourself? When will you stop hoping for validation and start building it, brick by brick, from the inside out? The role is waiting, the script is unwritten, the only thing missing is your decision to step forward and own the spotlight. The world doesn't need more copies. It needs you, the real you, the bold you, the unfiltered, unshaken, unhidden you. And you will never be more powerful than when you stand in that truth. Let me tell you something many never hear. It is not selfish to believe in yourself. It is sacred. It is necessary. It is the cornerstone upon which everything else is built. You cannot create, lead, love, or build with conviction if you do not first believe that you are worthy of doing so. The world may try to guilt you into humility, but understand this: true humility and self-doubt are not the same. One leads you to service. The other leads you to silence. You were not born to be silent. Acting like the main character is about responsibility. It means you are no longer blaming circumstances, no longer waiting for rescue, no longer tethered to the narrative that says someone else holds the pen to your life. You hold it, and you have always held it. Maybe you were taught not to use it, or maybe you were told your handwriting wasn't good enough, but now you know better. You know that no one else can tell your story, and it is time you start writing it with purpose. This life you've been given, it is not an accident. You were not placed here to pass the time or merely survive the days. You were given a voice to speak, a mind to think, a heart to feel, and a soul to shine. But none of that matters if you do not choose to use it. The most powerful force in your life is choice. And when you choose to step forward, to show up, to speak clearly and act boldly, you change the direction of your story forever. You don't need to be the most talented, the most educated, or the most experienced. You just need to be willing. Willing to try, willing to learn, willing to fail and rise again. Willing to be seen. That last one is the hardest for most, because being seen is vulnerable. It exposes you to criticism, to judgment, to misunderstanding. But it also opens the door to connection, to leadership, to impact. And that's what the main character does. They show up fully, even when it's risky. Your past does not disqualify you. Your failures do not define you. Your fears do not limit you unless you let them. Every experience, good or bad, has prepared you for this moment. You have walked through fire, and you are still standing. You have faced storms that others never knew about, and yet here you are. That strength, that quiet, undeniable strength, is not to be hidden. It is to be honored. It is to be used. The people you admire, the ones who seem to carry themselves with such ease and confidence, they were not born that way. They made a decision. They made hundreds of decisions, and each time they chose to believe in themselves, even when it was hard, even when it felt fake, even when no one else did. That is what separates those who lead from those who follow. Decision, followed by action, repeated until it becomes identity. There will always be reasons to shrink, reasons to play small. The world is full of voices that will tell you to stay quiet, to be reasonable, to blend in. But hear this clearly. The world is also full of people who are desperate for someone like you to go first, to rise, to live boldly, to show what is possible. And when you do, you create space for them to do the same. That is the true gift of confidence. It spreads, it heals. So many are walking through life as ghosts of themselves. They have dimmed their lights so long, they've forgotten how bright they once were. But not you, not anymore. You are choosing to light the way, to take up space, to walk with meaning and intention. And the more you do, the more you remember who you really are. Not who you were told to be, not who you pretended to be, but the real, raw, radiant version of you that has always been waiting. Do not confuse difficulty with destiny denied. Just because the path is steep does not mean it is the wrong one. Every hero's journey is filled with struggle, not because they are unworthy, but because the struggle builds the soul strong enough to carry the greatness that awaits. The hardship you face today is not punishment, it is preparation. It is shaping you, strengthening you, sculpting you into someone who can stand tall in their purpose. And never forget, confidence is not a one-time achievement. It is a discipline, a daily practice. It is brushing your soul clean each morning from the dust of yesterday's doubt. It is walking through your day with eyes wide open, not to see what's wrong, but to remind yourself of what is possible. It is ending your nights not with regret, but with gratitude for every time you chose to show up when it would have been easier to fade away. So today, walk like the lead, speak like the lead, think like the lead, and not because anyone crowned you, but because you finally remembered you never needed a crown. You just needed to believe. There's a quiet revolution that begins when you start seeing yourself not as someone trying to fit into the world, but as someone shaping it. You become a builder of moments, an author of energy, a designer of outcomes. You no longer ask, what will happen to me? Instead, you ask, what will I make happen? This shift in perspective, subtle though it may be, is the heartbeat of main character energy. It is the difference between drifting through life and directing it. Too many are living in reaction mode, responding to whatever life throws their way, letting their mood be decided by traffic or their worth determined by someone else's opinion. But you are no longer among them. You are becoming intentional. You are no longer waiting for the scene to change. You are becoming the change in the scene. And once that awareness takes hold, everything starts to transform. Understand this. You don't become magnetic by chasing people, attention, or validation. You become magnetic by becoming deeply grounded in who you are. Authenticity is attractive. Confidence born from alignment draws people in like gravity. When you show up fully, unapologetically, without the need to perform or impress, others feel it. It frees them. It challenges them. It inspires them. That is the ripple effect of someone who has decided to live as the main character. And you will know you are growing when things begin to feel unfamiliar. Growth will confuse the parts of you that have grown accustomed to comfort. It will irritate the voices in your head that whisper, you're not ready, not worthy, not good enough. But those voices are echoes of the past, not predictions of your future. You can hear them, but you do not need to obey them. Growth is not about comfort, it is about commitment. There is a rhythm to life that belongs to you alone. Your timing, your flow, your intuition, they are sacred. Stop comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 20. Their journey is not yours, and your success is not late. You are not behind. You are right on time for the story that is being written through you. But you must stay in your lane. Trust your pace. Honor your evolution. Run your own race, not theirs. And here's a truth that most never speak out loud. The more you grow into your confidence, the more you will outgrow certain people. That's not betrayal, it's alignment. Some relationships are built on your insecurities. Some environments are only comfortable when you remain small. When you decide to act like the main character, those old dynamics will start to crack. Let them. What you lose in comfort, you gain in clarity. Your purpose is not to be palatable to everyone. Your purpose is to be powerful in your truth, to walk with a spine of steel and a heart wide open, to hold your head high, not in arrogance, but in honor. You are honoring the path you've walked, the lessons you've learned, the strength you've built. And most of all, you're honoring the one person who will be with you through every scene of this life. Think of yourself admitted as the thermostat for your destiny. You cannot outperform what you believe to be true about yourself. If your internal belief says you're average, life will reflect that. If it says you're forgettable, you'll fade into the background. But if your belief shifts, if you start to see yourself as powerful, as worthy, as uniquely gifted, everything changes. You raise the temperature and your actions follow. And remember, repetition rewires belief. You must remind yourself daily, You must speak your worth before the world echoes it back. You must rehearse confidence in the mirror, in your mind, in your movements, because confidence is not born overnight. It is built in the quiet hours, in the hard choices, in the moments you refuse to give in to the pull of the past. This is not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about remembering who you've always been, underneath the doubt, beneath the fear, beyond the hurt. You are powerful. You are capable. You are here for more. And it is not too late. It is not too early. It is right now, this breath, this heartbeat, this moment. This is your time. So stand in it, own it, and do not shrink. You are not the supporting cast in your own life. You are the main character. And the moment you decide to live that truth fully, fiercely, fearlessly, the entire story begins to rise to meet you. You must become the kind of person who no longer seeks the mirror for permission, but instead brings their own reflection to life through action. The main character doesn't sit and wait for the right words. They speak them. They don't hope for direction. They move, and the path appears beneath their feet. Your life is not an audition. You're not waiting for someone to cast you. You've already been chosen by the very breath in your lungs. The only thing left is your own agreement to take center stage. And what does it mean to take center stage? It means no longer hiding your ideas, your voice, your ambition. It means walking into the room as though you belong there, because you do. You see, most people carry the weight of invisibility, not because the world has rejected them, but because they have yet to fully show up. Your power is not in pretending to be confident, it's in choosing to stop pretending. Many wait for life to prove their worth before they believe in it, but that's backward. Life mirrors what you project. If you lead with fear, it reflects it back. If you lead with presence, with truth, with inner authority, the world responds. And the longer you practice showing up as your fullest self, the more natural it becomes. What once felt like effort transforms into essence. What once felt like performance becomes identity. Let's make something clear. Confidence is not a loud declaration. It's a quiet knowing. It's the energy of someone who walks into a storm and trusts their footing. It's not absence of fear. It's the presence of self-trust. And that trust is built each time you keep a promise to yourself. Each time you do what you said you would, even when it's inconvenient. Even when no one else knows, especially then. This is your opportunity to choose identity over insecurity. Every single day presents you with a chance to lean into the future version of yourself, to act like the version who already believes, already leads, already lives with intention. Start making decisions from that version. Start speaking from that version. The gap between where you are and where you want to be begins to close the moment you stop identifying with your past and start embodying your potential. Think of every choice you make, how you eat, how you walk, how you speak, as a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. Confidence isn't found in the big wins. It's built in the small daily decisions to act in alignment with who you say you want to be. That consistency, repeated with purpose, turns movement into momentum. And momentum, my friend, is the fuel of the main character. You will know you are growing when your environment begins to resist. Old patterns will call you back. Old fears will whisper again. People who once found comfort in your insecurity will suddenly feel uneasy. Do not let that pull you back. You are not here to make others comfortable. You are here to be true, and that truth may disrupt what was, but it will also attract what is meant to be. Do not try to please everyone. It is a battle with no victory. The moment you try to be everything to everyone, you lose yourself. And losing yourself is the greatest tragedy of all. The people meant for you will be drawn to your strength. The ones intimidated by it were never meant to stay. Let them go. Let them misunderstand you. Let them walk away, and bless them as they leave, because their departure is making space for your expansion. You must learn to validate yourself, to look in the mirror and say, I am proud of you, without needing anyone else to say it first. That's where real power lives, not in the praise of others, but in the quiet moments when you honor your own growth. When you can smile at yourself, not because you're perfect, but because you're consistent. Not because you have it all figured out, but because you keep showing up anyway. And remember, the main character doesn't rush, They move with intention. They pause when needed. They speak when ready. They listen deeply and respond with clarity. Life moves fast, but power lives in presence. Don't sprint through your story. Live each scene, feel it, own it. Every line, every breath, every beat of your heart is part of something far greater than the moment itself. It's part of the masterpiece you're creating. So today, take your position. In thought, in posture, in speech, in decision. Choose to lead your life like it matters because it does. Choose to move through this world like someone who knows they're allowed to be seen because you are. Choose to believe that the spotlight is not a threat, but a calling to rise, a calling to become, a calling to remember that no one else can do it for you, because it was always meant to be you. Let us speak now about identity, not as something you inherit, but as something you create. Too often, we live by the stories others have written for us, stories of limitation, of fear, of roles we never asked to play. And because we've rehearsed those scripts for so long, we mistake them for truth. But the moment you pause and ask, is this really who I am? You open the door to change. Because identity, real identity, is not fixed, it's forged. It's a series of courageous decisions repeated until they become your new reality. Acting like the main character starts with refusing to accept a story you didn't write. It starts with questioning every belief that says you're not enough, that you should stay silent, that your time has passed. Those beliefs are not facts, they are ghosts, echoes of voices that didn't know your strength, didn't see your soul, didn't understand your purpose. But you do, and now that you do, you can't pretend not to. You are allowed to redefine yourself. In fact, you must. If the person you've been no longer fits the life you want to live, then change the character. Recast the role, rewrite the lines. You're not betraying your past, you're honoring your future. Evolution is not disloyalty. It is divine responsibility. You have been entrusted with one life, and it is far too sacred to waste on fear and imitation. So who is the version of you that owns the room? Not the one who pretends, but the one who remembers. The one who walks in knowing their presence adds value. The one who no longer dilutes their words or shrinks their dreams. That version lives inside you, waiting for a green light that only you can give. You must decide today, now that the old chapter ends here. From this moment forward, let every step you take reflect someone who trusts themselves. Trust is the foundation. Trust in your own resilience. Trust in your ability to figure it out. Trust that even if you fall, you will rise sharper, wiser, and more aligned. And that trust doesn't come from others. It is cultivated through courage. Each time you stand when it would be easier to sit, speak when it would be easier to stay silent, you're training your mind to believe in your own power. Let's talk about standards. The main character doesn't settle. Not for treatment that demeans them. Not for relationships that drain them. Not for environments that box them in. Raise your standards. Not out of entitlement, but out of clarity. You teach the world how to treat you by what you tolerate. And if you tolerate being overlooked, underestimated, or undervalued, don't be surprised when the world delivers more of the same. What you allow becomes your norm. Change your norm, and you change your life. Begin to live as though your future is watching, because it is. Every decision you make now echoes into your tomorrow. Every time you choose growth over comfort, discipline over distraction, faith over fear, you are shaping the future version of you. And that future version will thank you for not giving up, for not giving in, for choosing the harder path that leads to a higher place. There's a kind of peace that comes with self-possession, a calm power. You no longer chase validation because you've already accepted yourself. You no longer compete with others because you're aligned with your own path. You no longer need to shout because your energy speaks before you do. This peace cannot be bought and it cannot be faked. It is earned in the quiet, private battles you fight within. The ones where you choose to believe in yourself even when everything around you says not to. The people who change the world are not necessarily the ones with the loudest voices or the flashiest lives. They are the ones who decide to live fully, authentically. They are the ones who realize they are the story, not the side note, the main event, not the background noise. And they live like it. They rise, they fall, they rise again. But through it all, they remain rooted in the truth that they are enough. So what does this mean for you today? It means you no longer wait for a turning point, you become it. You no longer wait for a breakthrough, you create it. You no longer wait for the right moment, you decide that this one is good enough, right here, right now. Because the moment you start acting like the main character, your world begins to transform. And the people around you, they begin to see you differently, not because they've changed, but because you have. This isn't theory. This is your life. This is your legacy. And you have every right to live it in bold, brilliant color. Not muted, not diminished, not halfway. The world has heard enough whispers. It's time for your roar. This is the moment you stop asking for permission. This is the moment you stop wondering if you're ready. You are ready, not because you figured everything out, but because you've decided to start. And that decision, clear, deliberate, unwavering, is more powerful than any plan, any talent, or any advantage. The main character doesn't wait to feel chosen. They choose themselves again and again until the world has no choice but to see what they've always known, that they were meant to lead, meant to rise, meant to be seen. You may feel the weight of your past tugging at your heels. You may hear the old voices trying to call you back, but you are no longer there. You are here, present, awake, alive. Every breath you take now is a declaration of renewal. You are not who you were. You are who you decide to become. And that version of you, the one who walks with intention and breathes with purpose, that version is real. It is not an idea. It is not a fantasy. It is who you are when you stop running and start rising. If you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you've been waiting for a shift, create it. No more rehearsing for a life you never get around to living. No more hiding your gifts behind doubt. No more shrinking to be accepted. No more apologizing for your ambition. The people who do the most good in this world are the ones who own their place in it. They are the ones who choose each day to bring the fullest version of themselves to the table. So let us speak this into your soul. You are the main character. You have always been the main character. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, has shaped you, prepared you, refined you. Even the setbacks, even the heartaches, were sculpting something sacred within you. They were building depth. They were building perspective. And now, with that depth and perspective in hand, you are ready to lead. Not someday, not when you feel more prepared. Now, walk like it, talk like it, think like it, breathe like it. The moment you shift your internal state, the external world begins to conform. The mirror does not change your face, it reflects it. And life, like that mirror, reflects the energy you carry. You cannot beg for greatness with the body language of defeat. You cannot whisper your dreams and expect the world to echo them back in thunder. You must be bold. You must be certain. You must stand. Every day is a new stage, and every stage requires presence. Wake up with the intention to lead your own life. Don't drift through the hours, shape them. Don't react to the world. Respond from a place of vision. The world bends to the posture of those who believe, not because the world owes them anything, but because belief is magnetic. It pulls opportunity into orbit. It draws respect. It commands attention, not by force, but by truth. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be faithful. Faithful to your path, faithful to your values, faithful to the idea that you were put here for more than just survival. You were born for expression, for meaning, for movement, for impact. And no one can take that from you. Not your critics, not your past, not your own mistakes. You are still allowed to become. The path forward is not paved with certainty. It is paved with conviction, step by step, with heart and humility. That's how legacies are built. That's how leaders are born. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need a clear reason. Find that reason. Feed it every day. Let it guide you when the noise is loud, and let it steady you when the storms come, because they will. And when they do, you will not retreat. You will rise. And when you do, when you rise, when you claim your space, when you speak with clarity and move with conviction, something beautiful happens. You awaken others. You give them a glimpse of what's possible. Your courage becomes their invitation. Your confidence becomes their mirror. That is the gift of living boldly. It is never just about you. It is about the energy you ripple into the world every time you show up. So let us end where we began, with the truth. No one else will do it for you. No one else will live your story. No one else will carry your voice. No one else will walk your exact path. And that is your power. That is your privilege. That is your calling. Act like the main character, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Not because it guarantees ease, but because it guarantees meaning. Not because it earns applause, but because it earns peace. Stand tall. Walk true. Own your role and write your story like the world is waiting, because it is.